Welcome to the show. I'm producer Pat Ford, filling in for David today as he is traveling up in Canada, visiting our neighbors to the north. He has some family members he's seeing up in Montreal. So it's going to be me hosting today as well as on Monday. And then we actually have Farron Cousins who's going to step in and guest host a couple of shows for us next week. We do have a jam-packed show to get to today. We're going to be discussing everything from the Mar-a-Lago raid to the new IRS agents to Alex Jones to Marjorie Taylor Greene. But let's start things off today by talking about how it's looking even more unlikely that Joe Biden will be running for a second term in 2024. Now, even back when Biden was campaigning in 2020, I thought that Biden is just going to be a one-term president if he wins. He's convinced himself that he is the best shot at defeating Donald Trump and getting our country back on a path to normalcy. So he'll win his one term, he'll accomplish whatever he can, and then he'll step aside and let someone else take over. And the real reason is his age, right? Biden would be 82 by the time that he's sworn in for a second term, and 86 by the time he'd leave office after 8 years. I'm not trying to be ageist or anything like that, but there's just a reality to the fact that the president of the United States is the most important job in the world, you could argue. It's one of the most stressful jobs out there, and you're always busy. You have to make these public appearances. Not everyone even lives into their 80s, let alone is working into their 80s, let alone has the most important job, arguably, in the entire world in their 80s. So I don't know if Joe Biden really wants to do that. And over the past couple of years, whenever a reporter has asked about Biden running again for a second term, the White House's position has always been that Biden intends to run, but they never make the full-on commitment, leaving them plenty of room to backtrack if they decide that, he's not really going to be doing this. The one time that Kamala Harris overstepped and said that he is going to be running, her office had to step back the statement the next day. Well, now we're hearing from Democratic Representative Carolyn Maloney, who represents part of New York City, that off the record, Joe Biden is not running for president again. Maloney was speaking to the New York Times editorial board, and the exchange went like this. New York Times' Eleanor Randolph said, quote, "Should President Biden run again?" Maloney said, off the record, he's not running again. New York Times' Jyoti Thotman, definitely mispronouncing that, said, not off the record, on the record. Maloney said, on the record, no, he should not run again. So there was a bit of confusion about this on the record versus off the record thing. Both the reporter and the interviewee are supposed to confirm and agree that something is off the record before it's truly off the record, which you can see didn't happen here in this exchange. But her position sure sounded like Biden won't be running again for a second term. She also doesn't want him to run again. As to why Maloney might not want Biden to run again, that's probably because of his sagging approval numbers. They haven't been doing all that well in recent months, although it has ticked up a little bit over the past couple of weeks. He's back to around 40%, but maybe Maloney just sees Biden as a liability for the Democrats, and she wants him to step aside and to get a new face in there. Maloney later went on CNN to apologize for the statement and to say that Biden's a great president, and she doesn't think that Biden's going to run again, but she sure wants him to.
Mr. President, I apologize. I want you to run. I happen to think you won't be running, but when you run, or if you run, I will be there 100%. You have deserved it. You are a great president, and thank you for everything you've done for my state and all the states and all the cities in America. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, so a little awkward there, and it's a little bit unbelievable too, because while she is holding firm that she doesn't believe Biden will be running again, she also doesn't sound that sincere that she wants Biden to run again. I happen to believe her earlier comments about it are true rather than this apology and correction. And the real question in this conversation is, do Democrats have a better chance at holding the White House if it's Joe Biden at the top of the ticket in 2024 versus if it's someone else? Fill in the blank. It could be Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, whoever. I could be swayed either way on this because helping Biden, of course, is the power of incumbency. Presidents do tend to win re-election more often than not. But then there's also these liabilities, right? Like there's Biden's advanced age. That'll be even more of a liability the next time around because he'll be 4 years older. There's also his approval ratings, which at least now aren't so good. Maybe they'll improve between now and the next election. There's also the question of if Republicans are able to take back the House and or Senate, Will Biden be able to get all that much accomplished? Probably not. So then that's hard to make the case to the voters that you should reelect him. So to me, it seems a little bit too early to tell what's going to happen for sure, but I'm sticking with my position that I don't think that Joe Biden is going to be running for president again in 2024. And you better believe that that will set us up for an interesting election cycle if he chooses not to run again, because then both the Democrats and the Republicans will have to be having these contested primaries to see who their respective nominees will be. And that will definitely be entertaining and juicy to cover.
One of our sponsors is Allform, the easiest way to design your own custom sofa. I have one from Allform. Unlike other companies, Allform lets you choose the fabric, the size, the shape, color, even the color of the legs. I have not one, but two Allform sofas. I've had them for years. They look good as new. Definitely the most comfortable furniture I own. And it gets even cooler because Allform sofas are completely modular. You can buy a sofa, and if you move, you can adapt it to the new space by adding onto it or rearranging its elements. That is definitely not something you get from your typical sofa company. Allform has everything from 8-piece sectionals to love seats and armchairs. Everything is made in the USA using premium materials. Allform makes sure that assembly is really easy. I didn't even need any tools, which is good because I have very few tools. And you can keep the sofa for over 3 months and send it back free if you don't like it for a full refund. Right now, Allform is giving my audience 20% off all orders at allform.com/Pacman. The link is down below.